So what's my favorite arpeggio shapes? Really what it comes down to is how do you lay out your arpeggios? Because you can play an arpeggio like one note per string, right? Right, sorry, fourth tuning here. Right? Or you can take, if you have four notes in an arpeggio like an A minor seventh, you can play it, you know, two notes per string. Right? Or right? I'm not used to doing that, but you can, right? You can lay it out and play it like you want to. So it's basically, when it comes to, you know, arpeggio shapes and how you lay them out, it's a matter of what do you want with them. Do you want them to fit inside a cage shape? Because then you can just plot out all the arpeggio notes within the first position major cage shape, for instance, right? So you go, oh, sorry, fourth tuning again, right? So I tune in fourths on my Strandberg guitars. We can come back to that in another video. And so going back and forth can be quite a challenge sometimes. But so that's one. I want them to fit inside my cage shape because I know that cage shape. But you can also say, hey, with four note arpeggios, I can play them really great if I lay them out as two notes on one string, one on the next, and two notes on the next, and then one. So 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 all the time. So right? Right? And that is an amazing way of doing it. Let's just look at it here, right? Let's go close up and remember I'm tuning in fourths, so the two top strings here is not a B and E string, it's a C and F string because I'm tuning, so that's the same distance between my strings. This is a system, right? This is just a fourth all the way down there. But my arpeggio shape, I'm just going to show you how it looks in standard tuning, but my A minor arpeggio shape looks like this, and we can do some pretty wild stuff with it in a second. So 12 and 15th fret on the A string. Then I have the 14th fret on the D string. Then I have the 12th and the 14th on the G. And then if you were in standard tuning, you would play the 13th on the B string, and you would play the 12th and the 15th fret on the high E string. That just sounds a little bit weird, but I'm going to take that back because I'm using fourth tuning, so just going to take it back a fret, so I'm playing the 11th and the 14th and the 12th in fourth tuning, and then right, right, so that's cool. Right, but the cool thing is I can lay any four note arpeggio out like that, and then I can use the same picking pattern every single time. So whatever I learn in an A minor seventh, I can use it. Right, it's the same picking pattern, it's the same playing pattern, so I can sequence arpeggios and go. Right. It's the same thing that I do when I pick every single time because I laid it out like that. And so we have a lot of advantages. But one of the cool things is that I can take the scale notes. Whenever I have two notes on one string, there's a scale note in between or a chromatic note. In the case of a seventh to a root note, there's only one whole tone, so I only got one step in between. But I can start playing these, and that is playing a mode. Because now I have the mark out of, let's say, the A minor in the key of A minor, and I put the scale note in from the natural minor on my first little thing here. Let's go close up again. So I got the 12th, 14th, and the 15th, and this is the 9th, the scale note. Then I just maintain that lonely note on the D string, and then I have two notes on the G string in the 12th and the 14th, and I can put a chromatic note in between. Or I can put a note on top of it or at the bottom of it. Right? So let's put a note on top instead. Sounds, you know, the 9th is really cool. So instead of just playing the 12th and the 14th, I'm just going to add a note. So I have 3. Then I have the 12th, the lonely note on the C string, or the 13th if you're using standard tuning. And then I have the 11th and the 14th up here. But I'm going to add the 12th, so that would look like this. So I have the 12th and the 15th, and add the 13th in standard tuning, fourth tuning. And if I play this shape, I am now effectively playing the sound of the Aeolian mode, because I'm combining the markup or the structure of my A minor 7th chord, the arpeggio, which is the 6th step of the major scale, which is the Aeolian arpeggio or chord. And then I'm putting in notes from the A natural minor or the C major scale, same thing. So you can hear the arpeggio in there, and you can hear the scale notes, and that blend is the same thing as the Aeolian. That's the sound of it. This is the Aeolian sound. Right? And so I get this very distinct sound. If I was to change it to if I were playing a D minor, let's maintain the C major scale, but I'm playing the D minor and the same shape that I did up here. Now I'm just playing it in the 5th fret, starting with the 5th fret on the A string. So I have my arpeggio in the 5th and the 8th on the A string, then the 7th on the D, same shape as before, then the 5th on the G string, right? And the 7th on the G string. And then if you're in standard tuning, you go to the 6th on the B, the 5th and the 8th on the high E. But in 4th tuning, I go down here, play the 5th, and then the 4th and the 7th on the high E string, or F string. Right? If I put the notes in from the C major scale, this is the 2nd step of the C major scale. It sounds like this. So the Dorian change is right there. But now I'm playing the same arpeggio, but the C major scale still. Now it's the 2nd step, so now it distinctly sounds Dorian. See, normally when you have to hear, if you want to hear the sound of a mode, you have to hear the chord in the background. So in order to hear the Dorian mode, you must hear a D minor in the background and then play the C major scale on top of that. Because the D minor chord is the 2nd chord of C major, and that's the Dorian chord or mode. So a mode is how a scale sounds with any one of its chords when you go from chord note to chord note. If you just play random notes, it just sounds awful, right? But if you play, so you are actually creating a melody by going from arpeggio note to arpeggio note in between, then you will hear that emphasis on the arpeggio notes. And you'll also hear the scale, and those two in combination is the sound of the mode. So, and I don't have to have a chord in the background because I'm putting an emphasis, because of my 2-1-2 shape, on the notes of the arpeggio, right? If I change to D Aeolian without, that's another major scale, but if I do that, Dorian, I change to Phrygian, right? So taking your 4-note chords, arpeggios, and dividing them up into 2-1-2 will reassure you that you can pick them in the exact same way. So there's much less to learn than if you have 2 notes on one string, then 1 on the next, then 1 on the next, then 2, then 1-1-1, and all that mess that we normally go into. So you can play them extremely fast as well. You can right? Sweep picking, hammer-ons and pull-offs, all these things. And you get an easy tool to play very melodically, walking from chord note to chord note while still maintaining the sound of the actual arpeggio. I hope that makes sense. So I warmly recommend playing your 4-note arpeggios like that instead of trying to embed them into your cage shapes or 3-note per string shapes or any other thing. See you in the next video. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this and what your own experiences are with arpeggio shapes. See you around.